right, folks, we've got something interesting on the table today. The Opteka 500-1000mm f8 telephoto lens. This thing promises a massive zoom range, essentially turning your DSLR into a powerful spotting scope. But does it deliver? Let's find out. This lens is definitely aimed at a specific niche: wildlife and nature photographers who need that extreme reach. Think bird watchers, or anyone trying to capture distant subjects without disturbing them. The idea of being hidden while snapping photos is appealing, and Opteka markets this as giving you the equivalent of 20x power binoculars. That's a bold claim. First impressions? It's big, and it feels, well, let's just say it feels like its price point. It's mostly plastic, which contributes to the lighter weight, but don't expect premium build quality here. This is a budget-friendly super telephoto, and that's reflected in the construction. The lens is entirely manual focus, which can be a challenge, especially at these focal lengths. Even the slightest movement can throw off your framing. A sturdy tripod is an absolute must-have with this lens. Forget handheld shots unless you're going for some seriously artistic blur. Now, the important part: image quality. The Opteka 500-1000mm boasts HD, super multi-coated glass optics and an anti-reflection coating. In real-world use, the results are mixed. On a bright, sunny day, you can get some decent shots, especially at the lower end of the zoom range. Details can be surprisingly good when the conditions are perfect and you nail the focus. However, sharpness drops off considerably as you zoom in towards 1000 millimeters. Expect some chromatic aberration, those color fringes around high contrast areas, and a noticeable loss of contrast. This is especially true in less than ideal lighting. Don't expect miracles in low light. This f8 aperture isn't going to gather a ton of light. The preset aperture means you're stuck at f8, which limits your control over depth of field and shutter speed. This can be a real constraint in challenging lighting situations. You'll need to adjust your ISO accordingly, and even then, you might find yourself battling motion blur, especially at those longer focal lengths. The lens is digitally optimized, which is a bit of a vague term. In practice, it means it's designed to work with digital sensors, but don't expect any fancy image stabilization or autofocus. So who is this lens for? It's definitely not for professionals or anyone expecting tack-sharp images across the entire zoom range. However, if you're a hobbyist on a tight budget and you absolutely need that extreme reach, the Opteka 500-1000mm might be worth considering. It's a fun lens to play with, and it can capture some surprisingly decent shots under the right conditions. Just manage your expectations. This isn't a magic bullet, but it's a relatively inexpensive way to experiment with super telephoto photography. Just remember, practice, patience, and a good tripod are your best friends with this lens. It's a learning curve, but it can be rewarding if you're willing to put in the effort.
Check out the video description for updated price. And thank you for watching this video.